Thank you everyone for telling me all this information. I'm very happy to have you guys. By the way, in case you're trying to unmute yourself, that is actually not going to be possible. I'm going to be the person speaking, but you can leave all of your questions in the Q&A box and we'll get back to them. So you should be able to see my screen and hear me, but if that's not the case at any point, please let us know by writing in the chat box so we can get it resolved as quickly as possible. Additionally, if you have to step away at any point during the webinar, don't worry. This session will be recorded for you to watch at your leisure. Today's session will be made up of two parts. The first one, we'll take a look at our new features, and then we're going to move into the live Q&A to answer all your questions. My amazing colleagues, Maya and Alon, will help answer your questions live during the webinar. So please leave those in the Q&A box, not the chat box. Throughout the demo, please be sure to add your questions in the dedicated box, just as I mentioned. And we will try to get to as many questions as we can, but because there's a lot of us here today, if we don't get to your specific questions, please feel free to check out our user community at community.monday.com, as it's likely that someone has already asked your question and it was answered. Finally, you will also be emailed a recording of today's session within 3 business days. So let's jump right in and take a look at today's agenda. Okay, right here. So today we have some exciting updates to cover. Mainly, we have a few board improvements, an additional feature to our Workforms product, new additions to the account level for enterprise users, and more. We're also going to highlight an app on our marketplace called Dashboard Hub and a lot more. So I'm going to go back to my board right now, and I'm going to show you a few of our board improvements. Sorry, one sec. Right here. Okay. So this is the customer project template that I added through the template center. Let's take a look at it together. I chose this template because it allows you to view all your projects at a glance. It has multiple boards and can help calculate billable hours for clients, get a full overview of customer projects in real time, and collaborate effectively with stakeholders across teams. One popular feature that we use to manage tasks in a more visual way is the Kanban view, as you can see right here. So, as you can see here, we'll give it a second to load. There we go. For those who are not familiar with the Kanban view, Kanban is a useful project management technique that aims to manage work by prioritizing tasks and balancing demands according to the available capacity. It helps us see our pain points at a glance and make sure we're best utilizing our resources. This view is another way of viewing items on your board. As you can see here, it uses cards representing the status of the item, which pulls the information from the status column of your choice. Therefore, your items will be sorted into cards according to their status. However, you can also choose to divide cards by different values from your board to make them easier to work with. Until now, there was only the option to divide the Kanban view by groups, as you can see right here. With our latest improvement, we've added the option to divide the Kanban view by the following. As you can see here, we have the status columns from the board. So they allow you to organize the Kanban by priority. For example, if we click on analysis, you will see that our projects will be sorted differently. You will see the status labels here. The second option is to use the connect boards column. Please note that this is limited to a single value only. So we'll have to make sure that a certain setting is checked or unchecked in this case to see the column as one of the options. Let me show you what that looks like. We go back to the main table here. We'll go back to our connect boards column right here. Click on the 3 dots to see the settings, customize, and then you will see that this box is unchecked. This has to be the case in order to show that column in the Kanban view, so you will be able to divide it accordingly. Let's go back. Great. So I will show you what that looks like. And in this example, if we had a connect words column which listed our clients like we can see here, we're going to be able to see which project is associated with which client and organize the Kanban by clients. The next thing that we will be adding right here is the ability to divide the Kanban view by a people column. For example, in stand-up meetings, you can have the Kanban reflect the work of each individual team member. In the future, there will be support for even more columns, so stay tuned. Before we move on to dependencies, let's take a 30-second break to take a sip of water, and we'll be back. Thank you for staying with me, guys. I hope you're excited to hear about our next feature. So next we have the new dependencies related feature, which you'll see right here. This is still in beta, but we're offering for you guys to join the test. For those who are not familiar with dependencies, they help create vital connections between items that are dependent on one another to help better manage projects in a more efficient way. Project managers use dependencies to plan interconnected tasks in their projects and ensure that the project stays on track during execution. 1 second, please. We're gonna talk more about the new feature that we add for dependencies. Following the recent big changes that we have made to our dependencies, which I really recommend that you guys check out, we're in the process of adding the ability to define the dependency type and lead or lag for each dependency relation via the dependency picker. Let's break it down. So first, here's a list of the 4 new dependency types that you can see right here when you click onto your dependency. So, sorry about that. Open it again. We'll try another one. Great. So, I'm going to cover them for you, but as you can see, you can choose them there. So the first dependency type that we're going to cover is finish to start, which you can actually see here, it's already set. So that means that task A must finish before task B can begin. This is the most common type, and an example for this will be that you can't start building the roof of a house before you finished building the walls, right? So that would be our first dependency type. The second type would be start to start. That means the task B cannot begin before task A begins. For example, you can't begin to edit an article until the writer starts to write the article, but it doesn't have to be finished for you to go over it. The third type would be finish to finish. This means that task B cannot finish until task A is finished. For example, you can't finish setting up furniture until the painting is finished on the walls and the entire house. The fourth and last dependency type is start to finish, which means that task B cannot finish until task A has started. For example, you can't finish a shift as a security guard until the next security guard starts their shift. Great, so these are the 4 dependency types. And next, we're going to discuss lead versus lag, which you can see right here to the right. You can use lead versus lag to identify necessary delays or opportunities to save time in your project plan. Please be mindful of the fact that this feature will only show up in the dependencies if you are setting them to the strict mode. What is the strict mode, you ask? I'm going to show you. So in the 3 dots here, you're going to be able to see the settings of the dependency column and make sure it's set to strict right here. We're going to save and go back. So 2 key terms to remember are predecessor, which is the task that is blocking other tasks from starting or finishing. That would be the first one here. And successor, which is a task that is waiting on other tasks to start or finish. Okay, so that would be this one. So what is a lag? A lag is a delay right here between predecessor and successor. That is actually the time that must pass before the successor can begin. For example, 2 days are required to delay between adding the first layer of paint and the second layer of paint. What is a lead? A lead is an acceleration of a successor. That is the time in which the successor can begin in parallel with the predecessor. For example, a 2-day overlap between starting to develop a feature and finishing to design a feature. In our board here, you can see that in my timeline column, the first project ends on February 11th. And the second project, his successor, right here, starts on February 12th with a finish to start dependency, as I've shown you here. So if I add a lag of 7 days to the dependency, for example, the second project will be automatically moved by 7 days to February 19, and the rest of the dependencies will change accordingly. Let's see it in action. I'm going to add 7 days here, click out, and then voila, everything is changing accordingly. Cool, right? This is a huge step forward in the dependencies available in monday.com, and we're extremely excited for you to test it. Let us know what you think. So how can you do that? Firstly, if you're interested in testing out this feature that I've shown you right here, please fill out the form which I've posted in the chat and will allow you to join the beta. Secondly, and this is very important, please note that the dependency types and lag is open as a trial feature, but in the future, it may require payment. Great. So next, we're moving on to the latest improvements to Monday Workforms. With Workforms, you can create and use custom forms to collect, track, and analyze data while automatically syncing with your monday.com boards and workflows. You can find it by simply adding a form view here, right here, and I already have one on my board. So we'll take a look. Popular uses for Workforms are for submitting client requests, pulling leads into a dedicated board, or collecting feedback from team members. In my case, I am using this form to collect customer projects and fill them out here. So this is a separate product from the monday.com work management, but you can access the feature directly from Monday, just like I showed you here, by adding a form view to your board and accessing it here. As you can see, it is powered by Workforms. So we're happy to announce the new 1-by-1 format. I will show you what it looks like right here. When you click on Edit Form, like I just did, you'll be able to see this button, which is the form format. As you can see here, you have the classic format, and we're going to switch over to our 1-by-1 format. You can also change the layout and everything just like before. We've also added the ability to customize the experience with a progress bar that you can check and uncheck here, and that will give it a more professional feel. Let's see what that looks like here. We're just going to wait for it to load, reset, so we can start together. Let's preview it. So this new feature allows the submitter to view the form questions individually, 1-by-1, and provides a more intuitive submission experience. This new 1-by-1 view is a more straightforward and organized way of completing forms, eliminating the need to scroll and navigate between different questions. With this new feature, the submitter can focus on each question without being overwhelmed by the entire form. For example, if I want to enter my name here and then move to the next question, I won't have to start thinking about the dates before I'm done with my name, right? So you can just scroll through the questions and fill them out at your leisure. Let's say you're using forms to have clients fill out all the information necessary to place an order for a product that needs to be shipped to them. Now the form will be broken down question by question, just like you see here, making it feel less overwhelming. You can also click back, just like I showed you, and next, whenever you want, and you can always go over everything again before submitting. Great, let's go back. So this feature also supports right to left. I know some of you use those languages. So just so you know, this is also possible here. and also different layout alignments, just like before. Also, as you can find here, we also have different colors, images, backgrounds, and other well-known features. If you don't see this feature in your account, that's because it is being gradually released, but it should be fully released in the upcoming weeks. However, please note that by August of this year, this feature will be available for Pro and Enterprise plans only. So that's it about Workforms. Let's take a 30-second break to take a sip of water, and we'll be right back. Okay, thank you for staying with me, guys. I hope you're excited to hear about our next feature. Moving on, let's move into some really great improvements we made for managing your account using Teams if you're on an enterprise account. Let's head over to the Teams page in the account. Right here, we're going to click on Teams. So we can manage teams or create new ones by clicking on our avatar and then on Teams, just like I showed you a moment ago. And a team is any project or any group of individuals who are working together to achieve a shared goal. In the workspace, this can be a department, a project team, a functional department team, a cross-functional team, management teams, or whatever other type of team works for your company. The individuals in the teams, as you can see here, we have friends. So those individuals in the team are in a team that you created in your account can be notified, updated, and communicated with all together as a team. Now, enterprise admins can also assign an entire team to be an owner of a workspace rather than simply adding individual users. Let's see what that looks like. We're going to go back to the work management right here. So this is my workspace, new features webinar, and I'm going to click on it here to show you all of my members. Great. So workspace owners, just like you can see me here, can manage the members in a workspace, including workspace ownership, request to join the workspace, and the ability to add and remove workspace members by clicking on the workspace name. With the new addition, these capabilities will be held by all users in the team that is assigned as the workspace owner. This is an important change for big accounts where large numbers of users should have such ownership rights, saving time in making each individual team a workspace owner. And I'm gonna show you guys how that works by adding my friends team right here to the workspace and crowning them the owner of this workspace. Great. Let's go back to the team section and I will show you more about subteams. Okay, going back to our friends team. Great. So this next feature allows us to create subteams inside teams to better organize users in your account. Let's create, for example, a new subteam right here. As we have friends, let's call it best friends. We'll do it through here as well. One second, please, sorry. Here, create a new subteam. I'm just excited about this feature, guys. Aren't you excited? Okay, who are we gonna add? I'm already a part of this team as I'm creating it. Let's add Ross and Rachel for now. You can always add new ones. You can upload your team's avatar image here. And let's create it. Great. So as you can see, we are now in the best friends team, which is, we go back to friends, listed right here as our subteam. Wonderful. So you can create, add, and remove subteams inside existing teams right here. And subteams will have the same access to content as the parent team. So any update which mentions the parent team, in this case, that would be friends, It also will mention users from the subteam, and the same where an item is assigned to a parent item, any users from the subteam will also get assigned and notified. So a few things to keep in mind regarding this amazing new feature. The number of allowed hierarchies is 5 levels. A subteam can only have one parent team, so our best friends will only be the child of friends. They can't have more parents than friends, but you can have more subteams under best friends. And the team structure can only be one way. There's no loops. This means that team A, in this case, that would be friends, cannot be the child of team B, which we just created, best friends. Team B is the child of team A, so there's no way for us to have them looped. This feature is currently in gradual release for all our enterprise customers. I hope you guys are excited about it. Our next improvement to the management of teams is the addition of the role of team owner. As you can see here, team owners will be the only ones who are able to perform actions relating to the team's management, for example, editing the team, adding or removing members, changing the name and team image, and more. Creating subteams is also part of something that only the team owners can do. When new teams are created, the creator of the team will automatically become the owner. In this case, that is me. 1 sec, sorry, right here. So to make someone else an owner, you can simply click on the crown icon to the far right of their name. In this case, we have Rachel Green. I want her to be an owner with me. So I'm gonna crown her an owner. Now you can see that both of us have blue crowns here. That means that we are both owners of this team. Pretty cool, huh? So new team members are set as default by members, but you can assign them as owners just like I showed you before. And yeah, this feature is currently in gradual release for all of our plans. So feel free to give it a go once you see that it appears in your account. And that's a wrap about teams. We're now going to move over to a new permission for enterprise accounts. Enterprise admins have the ability to set account level permissions to restrict different user groups from being able to do things on the account. So let's go back to our board and I'll show you what that looks like. The new permission we have added is named Examine Permission Experimental Features using Monday Labs. So Monday Labs allows users to become data testers and try out our new features before they are fully released. If you haven't ever checked it out, you can reach it through here by clicking on your avatar and then clicking on Monday Labs. This is what you will see. So let's see where the permission lies. We're gonna go back here on our avatar, click on administration, and then click on permissions. Great. So each user on the account will need to activate Monday Labs separately on their account to be able to use the feature. And this permission allows administrators to restrict who on the account can access Monday Labs, meaning that admins who wish to limit who can enable features on their account on Monday can do so by editing this new permission in the account section. For example, if I want guests to be limited in a certain way or members, I can go scroll down all the way to account, and then you will see this permission right here, examine experimental features using Monday Labs, and just check it off. That means, as you can see the permission saved, that's great. That means that the members will not be able to allow themselves to have this feature and they won't be able to become beta testers. In my case, I'm going to turn this on. This permission is available for all types of roles. As you can see here, we enable it for viewers, guests, members, admins, and any custom created roles that you desire. The default state of this permission is that it's enabled for all users. As you saw before, this was already turned on. But you can use Monday Labs without having it turned on manually. If admins want to restrict this permission, they can uncheck it right here. If your account is not on the enterprise tier, it's important to note that you won't be able to disable access to Monday Labs for your users. This is only available through the account permissions, which are strictly available to the enterprise account. Great, so I know this is a lot of information. Please send me an emoji in the chat to know that you're still with me before we continue. Great, thank you guys. I'm so happy you're still with me. Now we're gonna move over to the Monday Apps Marketplace, which you can find right here on this puzzle piece. We'll wait for it to load. There we go. Okay, so with the Monday Apps Marketplace, you can find ready-made apps to expand the capabilities of the monday.com platform and fit the unique needs of your business's workflows, processes, and projects. The Apps Marketplace contains apps developed by third-party developers, as well as apps built by the Monday team using the apps framework. By using Monday apps, you can analyze and visualize your data in new ways and collaborate more effectively across your organization. Okay, so you know that feeling when you open the App Store on your phone, but you don't know what to choose because there are so many apps? Maybe you go to the trending category because the apps which other users are downloading might be good for you too. Well, it's about time that our own app marketplace has such a category. Now, after opening our apps marketplace, you will be able to see the new trending this week category right here, and it will help you see what's popular among other users on monday.com. Pretty sweet. This category shows 10 apps that have the most installs in the previous week, making choosing new apps to add to your monday.com account easier than ever before. This feature is already released to all our monday.com accounts, so give it a go. Great, so while we're still here in the apps marketplace, I also want to deep dive into one app that is the app of the month. It's called Dashboard Hub. Let's look it up together. Okay, so this is the one right here. As you can see, it's the editor's choice. This is a new addition to the monday.com marketplace, and it is developed by AppFire. Dashboard Hub is designed to help you manage your data in monday.com even more effectively, integrate various data sources, and a very popular request, the ability to share insights with external stakeholders using a password. Let's go over some highlights. The first one is enhanced data visualization capabilities. Dashboard Hub provides a rich set of features to visualize your data. You can use predefined dashboard templates, nearly 100 metrics, and formula cards to create tailored data presentations. You can find demos for this right here. The next thing I want to highlight, is centralized data. So you can integrate with more than 10 different products listed here, such as Jira, Confluence, Bitbucket, and Dashboard Hubs turns your dashboard into a single centralized data hub, making data management much easier. The next thing that I want to highlight is secure report sharing. You can share specific reports and boards with external stakeholders using public links protected by a password, keeping your entire account secure. Let's take a quick look at some of the more popular use cases for this app. The first one is product management and marketing teams. With Dashboard Hubs, teams can create centralized dashboards from various boards and external integrations that provide valuable insights at a glance, ensuring everyone is on the same page. The next one we're going to cover is sales teams. They can utilize Dashboard Hub to visualize your sales pipeline and gain advanced insights. You can make use of a predefined sales CRM dashboard and explore data with gadgets designed explicitly for Monday sales. You can see that one right here. Development teams can use Dashboard Hub to track sprint progress, set goals, collaborate, and make decisions based on real-time data. So this is what the finished product looks like. I'm going to show you the formula cards and board summary just so you can see what you can use it for. I'm personally really excited about this one because I use formulas a lot in my day-to-day life, and it's just really cool that you can see everything at a glance. As you can see here, you have the board summary, which allows you to see a lot of columns. And right here, you will also be able to see the formula cards with the data from your board, and even that you have hit 65% of your release completion. That's really cool in my opinion. And if you want to try it out, I recommend downloading the app to your account and starting the free trial today. Cool. So now we're actually going to go back to our presentation real quick because I want to show you guys something else. Our last section today before the Q&A part of the webinar is our new mobile features. We've already covered the app of the month. I'm just gonna right here. Great, so for those of you who don't know, monday.com offers mobile apps on both iOS and Android. Almost all of the capabilities you have in your desktop Monday platform are also available on mobile, but we're always looking to improve the experience for our mobile users. The next features that I'm going to display are definitely parts of those improvements. So therefore, we have added a new list view mode, showing my work items as a list. The previous cards view, which is how my work was displayed prior to this change, is quite different from how my work appears on the desktop. And therefore, we have decided to provide the new list view, which is more similar and user-friendly, as you can see here. The new view also gives the ability to overview the list of tasks in a more compact way, showing more items on the screen. For those who want to stick with the previous experience of seeing tasks in cards format, that is also possible. You can toggle between the two. This feature is being gradually released to iOS users right now, and Android users already have access to it as well. Great. So what is our next feature for mobile? Like I said, we have two. The next one is the What's New widget. This addition to our is an addition to our mobile homepage and is looking like this. This provides you with a dynamic widget on your mobile app home screen that showcases new activities related to you. And it includes recent activity in boards, your subscribed to personal mentions and assignments, aggregated replies and likes, trending posts in your account, and so on. This will provide you with important information from your account on the homepage of your mobile app, giving you more value when you open it. This feature is currently being gradually released on both iOS and Android users. I hope you like it. And that's a wrap. Okay, so this completes the new features presentation part of our session, and we'll be moving into the Q&A shortly. If you haven't had a chance, please be sure to add your questions in the Q&A box now. I'm going to take a quick 5-minute break, and then we'll get started with your questions. See you soon, guys. Stay with me. Still with me, guys? Okay. We selected a few of your questions. Thank you so much for submitting them. They were very interesting. And we're first going to start with the form. So I wanted to clarify a few things. First of all, if you have the last form version that we had, the older one, you can access Workforms by having your admin go to workforms.com. We'll do this together. Then you will see sign in here. You can sign into your already existing Monday account. It will ask you here, what is your work email and then your password, and then you can access this way. Then you can go back to your board, refresh, and you will see this sign powered by Workforms added to your pre-existing form view. So you don't need to create a new form or anything. And then you will see this. Obviously, it will be in a different format. So to edit it, you can just click here on edit form. And there you will be able to see everything I showed you before, like the 1-by-1 format or the classic format, just like it was before. You can obviously change the form alignment, use the progress bar and stuff like that. I also wanted to show you a few things about how you can add questions. So the questions that I have right now are taken from the columns on my board. If you want to add a question, you can simply click here to add a new question and choose from those options that you see here. You can also see that this thing here allows you to drag and reorder your questions. So if I want to change them right here, I can just drag them around. I can also add conditions to my questions. So let's say my analysis is a question that is important to me, and I want to say, if someone chooses stuck, I want to include another condition here, and then add another question. This is already enabled to everyone that is using Workforms. I know that in the old Forms feature that we had, it had to be enabled for certain accounts, but in Workforms, it's enabled for everyone. And just like before, you can choose the different question types right here. Just don't forget to preview your form before you publish it. And you can also go to Workforms right here to see how it looks. You can also click on all of these tabs to see how you can customize it and really go wild with it. And I hope you like the new feature. The next thing we're gonna cover is a question about dependencies. So are they still in beta, and when will they be available? So this feature right here is still in beta, and we're still testing this feature, but you can fill out the form in the chat that will allow you to join the beta, and then you can also provide feedback for us. So this was already sent in the chat. Feel free to click on that link. Regarding dependency types, will they work with sub-items? So you can add the dependencies to your sub-items, just like you see here in the item level. If I'm adding sub-items to my board, right here, we'll just add a test one so we can see this together. You can see that sub-items have their own column level. They have different ones than the item level. And just like you have dependencies on the item level, you can add dependencies to your sub-item level through more columns. Then we're going to add dependencies, and those dependencies are only going to be for the sub-item level. I am going to remind you right here to click on strict if you want to enable the lag versus lead feature right here. Great. So we don't offer the option yet to have dependency between sub-items to the items because they are two separate levels, just like I mentioned before. As you can see, the columns are different, so they can't be dependent on one another either. The next question that we selected is if you can join Monday AI feature in beta. So for users who are interested, in order to request to join the beta, you can fill out a form that we will also send in the chat in order to be accepted. It's going to be sent very soon. The next question is about the definition of the lead types that we covered. Definitely. So if we go back to our dependencies, I'm going to close the sub-item here. As you can see here, these are our dependency types. So the first one is finish to start, like you can see here. That is the common one. And that will allow the finish date of one task to drive the start date of another task to the next date. Like you can see here, since I have the 7-day lag, the start of the next task that is dependent on the first one will not be able to start before this one ends. In this case, we have a lag. So it's also going to be taken into consideration before the second project here can start. The second type here that we have is start to start. This means that the start date of one task drives the start of the other task to another date. The third type is finish to finish, which means that the finish date of one task drives the finish date of another task to a different date. So that would push it. And the last dependency type is that the start date of the first task, our predecessor, has to drive the other task's finish date. So you started here, but you can't finish it before. If we go back to our example that I presented you with, start to finish would be the task B cannot finish until task A has started. For example, with the security guards, if you remember, until the next security guard starts their shift, the first security guard can't leave, can't finish their shift. Hope that makes it clear. So the next one that we have, let me just read over it again. Okay, so this is actually a question about automations, which is not something that we have shown here, but this is another feature of the platform. And we will be seeing more robust pre-made automations when it comes to, for example, when an item is created in this board, connect the item where a column matches column in this board by adding a new match. You can find those automations in the automation center here. One sec, we'll wait for it to load. Great, and if you type match, you will be able to find all of our match automations. As you can see, they are still in beta, but they are very useful and I definitely recommend checking them out. Automations are only available from the standard plan, so keep that in mind. Lastly, you guys asked if we're adding the functionality to hide columns in the Kanban view. So I definitely want to show you guys how that's possible. If we go back to the Kanban view here, you will see that you can choose the specific columns that you're showing. You can also unselect certain ones, let's say the sub items, I don't want to see them. The client, which is the connect birds column that I showed you earlier, I can check that off. And maybe even certain status columns. That way you can only see the ones that are the most relevant for you from your items on your board. Great. So I think that's a wrap when it comes to all the questions that we're going to be able to cover today. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in and listening to all of our new features. I'm really excited about this month's new features, and I hope you guys are too. And yeah, thank you very much and have a wonderful rest of your day.